Welcome to Ghost Gab number 4. How you doing today, Jen?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So you've been keeping yourself busy in the paranormal world?
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, we have a good show coming up for everybody today. We've got a couple things that I think they're going to find interesting. Our main topic is going to be case files. We're going to give a brief recap of the cases that the SWPRG has investigated, and we'll build up from the dullest one to the most exciting, the one where we got the best information. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And next would be the movie review with Mustard Troy. Which movie did he review this week?
The Exorcism Emily Rose.
Okay, yeah, I really enjoyed that movie, so I'm looking forward to seeing what his thoughts are on it. And I also took part of that interview this time. Then we have another one of those like EVP interviews. You and I were down at Mantino a couple weeks ago, and we were walking around, happy to see that at least one building was still standing when we were down there. Came across Jeannie's room, went in, and did some EVP, and it's going to be interesting for you all to hear what came out of that. The next thing we're going to talk about is some of the updates on different magazines, websites. We'll cover things like Ghost Mag, Haunted Times. Lloyd Auerbach has a new book or two out there, Mysteries Magazine. And then for the websites, I think we're going to highlight the South Jersey Research Group this week. And then we have, of course, Rob's Rants. Any idea what he's going to be ranting on this week?
I believe it's one of our case files.
Ah, that should be interesting. We'll see what he truly thinks of that certain case file. Then we're going to talk about the conference just a little bit that we have coming up that we're sponsoring. That's going to be in Janesville. Looking forward to that. And you have all the specifics on that.
Yes, I do.
Okay, and then we're just going to have a good time today. So we'll be back and get started with the show. John, are you ready to review the top SWPRG case files?
Bring it on!
All right, here we go. Coming in at number 6. The Old Baraboo Inn and Brumder. Let's start with the Old Baraboo Inn, and that's in Baraboo, Wisconsin.
That's right.
Go ahead. Let me know what happened up there.
Well, we had been working with BC Farr, who is the owner. We'd been working with him for almost a year to try to get a good date to come up and do a full-blown investigation. And, well, when we got there, we had a lot of company. The place was open, and it's very difficult to do an investigation when you have a full bar open to the public.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Media was there as well.
Right, and it was very difficult to get nice, clean data out of that. So I think the reason this is kind of low on our list is because of the fact that we were not able to collect any clean data that night. And it was a shame because from what we hear, the place is pretty haunted. But it's something that we just can't. We can't.
You can't really verify at this point.
Right.
We'd probably have to do another investigation there. But according to BC and the people you talk to, they've had a lot of experiences. Unfortunately, we didn't experience anything that one time we were up there.
Right. We have been back, just periodically to check some data in some different areas. And it was odd because one of the places that we did check the first time, we had this reverse polarity going on in the kitchen. And when we came back the second time, it had moved slightly. So that was kind of interesting. It was probably about a foot away from where it was before. So why it's happening, I don't know, but it was something going on, right?
Which it's interesting because one of the pictures they have up hanging behind the bar is what they feel is some sort of anomaly, ghost, whatever they're going to call it. And it seems to be in that same area where we were getting that reverse polarity that was moving around a little bit.
That's right.
Okay, that was number 6, the Old Baraboo Inn. The other one that came in at number 6, which is a tie, is Brumder Mansion in Milwaukee. Right. Now, we've been there 2-3 times, and I think the first time I went with you guys over there, did get what looked like an orb with some movement. Of course, we're not real big on orbs, but the reason that we thought this was interesting is because it showed some sort of movement. Other people captured it on their cameras as well as the one I had.
That's right.
And we also got some EMF spikes at the time that occurred.
That's right. So, with just the orb, it might be, a little controversial, but when you take into consideration the data that we collected at the same time that orb was photographed, you got a little bit more to work with there. So.
Yeah, and to me, the fact that there was some movement involved and it showed up on 2 different cameras, and it had a pretty good luminescence, so it looked like it was putting some light off. But that was an interesting one. But I think that's about all we got there, besides maybe one other EVP down in the basement, the theater area.
Yeah, and I think a couple of our investigators had some personal experiences there, and a couple different bathrooms.
The bathroom in the theater downstairs. What happened to you there?
Well, yeah, that was weird. That I had experienced it in the bathroom in the basement where the theater is, but then also another member, Eddie, had an experience in the bathroom upstairs from there too. So I guess he was in the bathroom and he had his camera bag strung across the door handle.
Okay.
And the door handle started jiggling, and he yelled out, of course, "I'm in here." And no one answered, so he opened the door and there was no one there, and his wife was waiting out a little bit farther down the hall for him, and he went out and said, "Who was by the door?" And she says, "Nobody's been over there." So that was kind of interesting. So
then what about you? Was the ghost trying to give you a hint?
I think so, because I was downstairs and I just used the bathroom, and I got up to wash my hands, and there was an air freshener can sitting on the back of the toilet, and it just came flying out, and it landed in the middle of the floor. So and it happened more than once that night.
Yeah, we heard it, I think, the second time.
Yeah, and it happened to me twice.
Wow.
And other people had used the bathroom, and it
Ghost is telling you to freshen up a little bit, I guess.
So.
A little airspray here, please. How about a courtesy flush? Come on. It's all the ghost wants. So, yeah, that was interesting. We haven't had full reign of the place really yet, so it would be nice to do more there,
right.
Which we will be with the Milwaukee County Historical Society. We're going to be back there giving some talks
next week
and doing a ghost hunt with them. And they can find information about that where?
On our website
at
www.swprg.com.
Okay, great. Let's move on to number 5. And that would be Bachelors Grove. I've been down there a couple times. Me personally, never really heard a lot of stuff, but maybe you can talk about this one.
Bachelors Grove is reportedly haunted, like one of the most famously haunted cemeteries in the United States, especially in the Chicago area. It's located in Midlothian, Illinois. That's just a suburb of Chicago. And our group has caught a lot of weird photos out there. Considering the fact that it is outside, you have to worry about the conditions, with the humidity. There is a pond that's real close to it.
Okay.
There's also a stream that runs down it, and I believe there is an underground water source as well. So you always have to watch for those types of things.
Isn't that where Ghost Hunters International, or what's the group that they caught that picture of the woman sitting on the tombstone?
Oh, yeah, the Ghost Research Society. Dale Kilsmerrick.
Yeah.
I think Marie Huff is the woman who actually caught the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove sitting on one of the tombstones there.
And that's a controversial photo, of course.
Yeah.
My understanding is that photo was taken with infrared film,
That's
and
right.
there was nobody there at the time, and that image showed up in the infrared film, which you can find that picture on his website and various other books where he's given permission to use that.
That's right.
Anything else you want to tell us about Bachelors Grove? Besides, it's a great place to go. It's fun. If you're into ghost hunting, just want to have a good time, it really is fun to go down there. But again, do follow the Forest Preserve rules and laws, because you very well will be arrested if you're trespassing if you're in there after dark.
Yep, definitely. I know many people who have gotten fined for being on there after dark, and your car will be towed if you park it in the parking lot across the street. So, So just go there during the day and have a good time. Next, coming in at number 4, is the Spalding House in Janesville, Wisconsin. Yeah, the Spalding house was really interesting. For over a year, the employees of this old antique shop called the Spalding House, they would have just so many different experiences there. Before it was the Spalding House, it was a tea room and a Christmas shop before that too. And all of the employees of those shops as well had always claimed something weird was happening.
Okay.
So one day I'd gotten so many emails about this place saying, you really need to go check this out, on and on and on. So I walked up there and I said to the lady behind the counter, I says, I know this probably sounds like really weird, but is this place haunted? And she just went off. Oh my God, yeah, let me tell you all about it. So she was really enthused to be able to talk to somebody who kind of knew what they were talking about this, and we actually got into great detail. They had for over a year kept a diary of all of the weird things that had went on there. A couple of the really most interesting things were they had told me one time that a gentleman and his wife were upstairs, and he was just waiting for her in one of the main rooms, and she was walking around, and they had come downstairs, and he went up to to pay for their items, and he had mentioned how neat it was that they had hired someone to dress up in like antique, Victorian style clothing and walk around, being that it was their their grand opening. And the woman behind the counter had said, well, we never did that. Well, apparently the man had seen this woman in a green Victorian dress walking around upstairs.
Okay.
So that was really interesting.
Cool. What happened to you? You had a personal experience there, didn't you?
Yeah. We were doing an investigation. It was almost towards the end of the night. We were pretty much done with everything. The group was doing some EVP in the next room. Me and the owner of the place were standing about 2 feet away from each other in another room, completely silent. We weren't talking. Nobody else was in the room. Out of the blue, just a disembodied voice came up between the two of us and said, "Go away." It was definitely a woman's voice. We both heard it. Unmistakable. I can't describe where it came from, or it was just amazing.
Cool. Yeah, that place has a lot of good history, and you can actually look at the report on the website as well as some of the stuff on, I think it's the front page, about murder rampant in Rock County's early history, and it talks about one of the first murders in Janesville or Rock County that occurred on the Spalding property.
Right, and that report's also on the actual, that information's also on the report of the Spalding House as well, so it gives you a history back into the early 1800s of the place.
Okay, cool. Good. Let's move on, and coming in at number 3 would be 2 private residences, I think, that we've investigated. The first one being a private residence in Beloit.
Right. That was a really interesting one.
Okay, what happened at that one that really stood out to make you put it at number 3?
Well, nothing really happened at all during this investigation. We had tried so many things. We tried audio, video, photos, equipment, everything we could possibly find. This woman had claimed that these weird things were happening to her. The kitchen chairs were being pulled out. She'd come in. She'd hear her name. The kids, she had 2 small children. Both of them, they'd say that they were talking to an old man would come and visit them in their room. Just a bevy of different, weird things. So when we were doing our investigation, we tried everything and nothing. So it was, of course, at the end of the night, just like it usually is.
Always.
Almost ready to pack up. We thought, okay, we'll do one more EVP session. And we actually caught one of our investigators. Were asking, what is it we can do for you? What do you want from us? And you can clearly hear a voice saying, nothing.
Okay, so
in a whisper, and that is on our website under our EVP page too. So
just look for Beloit residence or Beloit home and
Beloit home.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. The other one I'd like to talk about, which is more of a recent investigation that we just wrapped up, and we're actually still in contact with the person on and off, is in Watertown. She's reported a variety of things: objects moving, electrical problems, strange smells. At one point, she had a family member who was renting the upstairs, the second floor, and claimed that he was dragged out of bed by something. So we decided to go up there and check it out, and it was an interesting time. We found a couple unexplainable spikes in the EMF. We found an area on the second floor where the EMF would come up, stay like that for 7-8 minutes, and then drop back down. Then there's the EVPs. There was 2 of them. The first one, very interesting. It was during the EVP session, and somebody asked, "How old are you?" And upon playing the digital recording back, you can hear what sounds like a moaning or groaning sound. Mm-hmm. And then there's maybe 2 or 3 different voices, almost like there's a conversation going on. And then you hear one that becomes a little more apparent.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the creepiest ones I've ever heard.
Yeah. If you want to be creeped out, definitely listen to that one. It's on the website as well.
On the EVP page.
EVP page. Check it out. It's interesting. And see if you can make out what the more pronounced whisper is later on. We all have our opinion, but we're not going to tell you because we want to see what you think. And if you have a guess, email us and let us know what you think it is. That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
That wasn't the only EVP we caught, though. We left the digital recorder running when we started to take down the equipment, and myself and another investigator, Troy, were up there talking. And you hear one of us say, should we break it down? And we're just talking back and forth. Then you hear a whisper that says, I think it says, "It's okay." And then we say a couple other things, and then you hear the voice come back, and very clearly you can hear, "Okay."
Yeah, he almost sounded like he was intermingling with you, trying to communicate or at least work. You got to listen to this. It's amazing. It's almost like he's talking to you.
Yep. Yeah, he was definitely interacting from what I could tell on that EVP. So that was a good case. And then to put the icing on the cake,
yeah, no kidding,
we're there going over the results of the investigation with the owner, and all of a sudden we're sitting at the kitchen table, and upstairs we hear boom, 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 boom.
Not just here. You felt it.
Yeah, you could feel the vibrations. It sounded like 6 lunging footsteps on that top floor.
It was amazing.
So what do? Of course, we run upstairs to see if there's anybody up there. Nobody up there at all. We tried to recreate it. Jen, you went up and took a couple good big steps up and down the stairways, all over the upstairs there. And I sat downstairs, and it really sounded the most similar when you were in that area where you just got above the stairs and over by the bathroom, which is interesting because that was where we caught the elevated EMFs every once in a while. Right. Don't know for sure if it came from that exact area, but that's where it sounded the most similar. Okay. So that was probably it was my first auditory experience of the phantom footsteps.
Yeah, that was amazing. I think, and to actually have somebody, another investigator there and sharing it with you is just amazing because, that right there.
Yep. Woo. Yeah, it was cool. It was really exciting. Let's move on. Coming in at number 2 is the bar next door. This was a really good investigation. I'm going to let you start off telling us about this one.
Oh, okay. Well, we were contacted by the bar manager. Her name was Kristen, and they had been having a lot of weird, strange things going on at the place. She had seen, I believe, a
couple apparitions at the time.
Yeah, I was trying to describe them, and I can't.
Yeah, so, it was. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what she said, but they'd seen some apparitions, and they'd also had some staff that wouldn't go up to the second floor and clean, and has an interesting history, though.
Yeah, it was apparently one of Al Capone's old his rivals.
Toohey. I think the Toohey brothers, or one of the Tooheys, use it as a speakeasy up there.
The windows are so cool because it has what are those turrets?
The turrets, yeah.
And then in the windowsills, they actually have where you can pull these window things down, and that's where you would put your Tommy gun.
Yep.
Outside the windows, it's just a really neat, cool old place. And if you have the opportunity to stop in there, it's on Olin Drive in Madison, Wisconsin. Just take a walk through there and check it out. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's really fun. Get some drinks and some food and have a good time. You can go upstairs and check out where we did the majority of our investigation. The interesting thing we found there was we had a video camera with motion detection infrared downstairs.
In the basement.
Yeah, I'm sorry, in the basement. And then we had the data recording system up on the second floor with us.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is we started getting these spikes in the EMF, and you just hear a bing, 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 bing. And then all of a sudden, the computer that was monitoring the motion detection camera in the basement started to go off.
Yep.
And when we looked at it, it looked like a ball of energy had gone across the hallway, made a little bit of a turn, and then headed back down the hallway.
Right.
And when we went back and checked that video, and our investigator, Walt Baker, he looked at it, and based on how fast this thing traveled, or how far and the distance and the frames, he figured out it was moving at about 68 miles per hour.
That's amazing.
So that was awesome, because we caught stuff upstairs.
Which means it came in through the either the second floor or higher.
Yep.
And it went straight through into the basement, turned up to go horizontal.
Yep.
And went through the basement. So
yeah, and we caught it all.
Yes.
EMF, and then those EMF readings kind of petered out after a couple minutes, after everything kind of calmed down again. So that was awesome.
Yep. We were left with 4 really great photos of this visual anomaly that we can't really describe. It looked like a ball of light.
Yeah, it's in the report on the website, but also I do have the actual, I think it's an MPEG or AVI file that if anybody wants to actually get the motion, the video of it, we can send you that if you email us. We also got an EVP there. You can check that out as well or ask us for it. That was a good one. You know what really makes it interesting, though, is after we do that investigation, we had the equipment, the data recording equipment, set up on the fireplace on the second floor. And what did we find out later that's a possibility?
Yeah, we had talked to the bar manager, Kristen, and she had told us later on, and we had no idea, that apparently there's a body buried behind the fireplace in the upstairs. And that is where exactly the location where we had our data logging equipment set up.
Cool. Unconfirmed, but
right.
I know she talked at one point about maybe taking that fireplace out. It'll be interesting if they ever do that to see if they do uncover a body back there. But, hey, Al Capone, the Tuies, speakeasies, back in the day, somebody had to have died in that spot.
Oh, definitely.
So that'll be interesting. Well, we have worked our way up to the number 1 SWPRG case file. Yay! And it would be none other than Mantino.
Oh, yes.
Jen, you have the most experience, and this is like your thing. I'm going to let you talk about it.
Well, Mantino actually is one of the biggest locations we've ever investigated in its day, which is no longer there because so many of the buildings had been torn down. But in its day, it had probably 40 different buildings. We would go through maybe 6 city blocks of buildings that were just abandoned and very haunted. So we had an opportunity to, at will, go to any one of these different buildings and investigate the hell out of it.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yep. Many photos and video had been got from there. I mean, you can look at our website and just see all of the really interesting photos that we took from Mantino and weird stuff that we can't explain. I mean, I know one time there was one of our investigators had taken a picture just in random and caught, at the time I had felt this buzzing in my ear. It was like a fly or something was in my ear, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And he took a photo, and there's this big blob of energy that's on top of my head, and it's like going out the top of my head. It's really interesting. Got a couple of photos like that with like electrical bolts going down my clothes. Now, is it maybe static electricity in my clothing? Could be. I don't know how much that's going to show up that well, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've tried to reproduce that where you shuffle your feet across the floor and zap somebody and take a picture, and it just does not look the same as what you guys saw there.
That was amazing. But I think the best thing that we ever got there was the infamous EVP from the place. This is awesome. And this was one of the first times we were there. We had set up the video camera. It was watching one of our natural EMF meters, trifield meter, sitting on a table. and out of the blue, we hear the tri-field meter. We had the audible up on it so you could hear it, and all of a sudden you hear this dip in the sound, and this what sounded like a nurse paging a doctor came up. And what was really weird about it is that how many EVPs have you ever heard that you actually heard when it was happening?
Me personally, none.
It's just very rare. And we actually heard the whole EVP going on in the building while it was happening. It was real time. But the weird thing is that there is no PA system in this place. There's been no electricity in this place for over 15 years. The place is literally falling down around you. I mean, the roof is on the floor. You're walking on it. It's
cool.
just, it's a nasty place, and it's all abandoned. And for some reason, we got this EVP of a nurse paging a doctor from a non-existent PA system.
Awesome. So that's what comes in at our number one position. So that does it for our case files, and we'll be right back with Mustard Troy and his review of The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Well, hello. We are here with Troy, Mustard Troy. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good.
Good. We are going to be reviewing the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose today.
Yes, we are.
Great. Dave Schumacher does have a personal interest in this movie and the depiction of the demonology type effects of it. So I'm going to have him interview you for this, okay?
He's wacky that way.
Here's Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Troy. How you doing?
Can't complain.
All right, good. Well, first of all, why don't you describe the movie? What's it about and what happens there?
Well, the short description is it's about an exorcism gone wrong, and the person who is being exorcised, if that's a correct term, dies, and the story is about the court case afterwards, about the priest who is arrested and sentenced with wrongful death, and the story is bringing light the proof, the evidence, the information about surrounding her death, and how it could be either spiritual, supernatural, or scientific. You don't know, and that's what the story tries to inspire, the duality of the situation.
Okay. Before we get too much into it, do you think it was similar to anything that our group has seen or investigated?
Well, not really. I don't think we've investigated a possession before. I don't know. Have we? I know I haven't.
Yeah. No. Our group hasn't looked at any possession cases as of yet.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do you think it was an accurate depiction between, science, psychiatry, medicine, and paranormal versus possession?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's what we deal with every day. In our investigations, the scientific method against the paranormal, and where do they meet in the middle? Because it could be one thing, it could be the other. But there's really no way to tell that, to prove one way or the other.
Yeah, one of the things I thought that was pretty interesting about the movie, which the one doctor who didn't get to testify because he was killed, and there's a lot of debate or discussion about what actually killed him.
Right.
But one of the things he stated is that, normally people with multiple personalities or, psychosis, they don't know that they're actually crazy, but Emily seemed to know that there was something going on there. That seemed to be a very interesting distinction.
She knew that there was something inside of her, which is uncommon, for someone who's, I don't want to use the word crazy, but yes, crazy. But she knew something was in her, and so she ended up giving her consent to the exorcism, which is a must, I guess. And from the church, you have to give your consent. So
yeah, according to the rituals and the way they go about it, you actually have to have a consent from the person that's being possessed in order to go ahead and try to attempt an exorcism. Overall, how'd you like the way the story was told through the courtroom and looking back into what had happened?
for the whole, the whole paranormal and the spiritual versus the science, it worked perfect, because then you get it's in flashbacks, you get kind of like both viewpoints, and they give you both viewpoints, and it helps you to see the differences and see the similarities and where they they kind of meet in the middle. So it was very interesting, and it was very entertaining to see.
Okay, so you think the entertainment value was still there as well?
Yeah, it was. But it's not really exciting, but it is entertaining if you are interested in the paranormal or stuff like that.
Okay. One of the things I found interesting that touches again upon some of the stuff that you have already discussed is the priest asked a medical doctor to attend the exorcism and to kind of keep track of what was going on and to monitor the patient. And I was just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I thought it was really neat that he would do that, because the priest obviously is very spiritual, but he still recognized the need for a scientific perspective and a need to protect this girl, because he could be wrong, and so he needed the other side of the spectrum to just validate what he's seen and to just keep this girl safe during the exorcism. Yeah,
which is interesting considering the fact that she had undergone psychiatric treatment before they started the exorcism, and they put her on some anti-epileptic medicine as well. That didn't seem to work. So
no, it didn't.
It was interesting that he would have a doctor there as well. But again, if you look at what really goes on with exorcisms and the way the church, specifically, let's say the Catholic Church, handles those things, they do a full evaluation and call in medical doctors to make sure that it isn't a psychosis type of thing or epilepsy, as they were trying to argue in the film. So one of the things that was very interesting, I thought, is that they only attempted one exorcism versus multiples, which, if you look at what this story was based upon, very loosely a case out of, I believe, Germany, that the exorcisms went on for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that they only tried one and it was kind of like, well, that's it, too bad?
Well, I did read the story before, the real story, before I went to see the movie, so I kind of knew what should have been going on. With the actual the script of the movie, it made sense that they only did one. Because as the story unfolds, you find out that she wants to experience these things, to bring light to her situation, to the church, and bring.
Okay.
Whereas in the real story, she, it was 2 years almost straight exorcisms every day, and that contributed a lot to her weakening state and stuff. So.
Okay. You mentioned that she wanted to bring to light what she was experiencing, and one of the scenes in the movie was Emily had what we would probably call an out-of-body experience, where she kind of left her body and she had an encounter with the Virgin Mary. You want to describe that and kind of give us your thoughts on that?
Well, she walks out of her house, which is a farm, and kind of falls down, and then you see her leave her body. And they kind of relay this in the courtroom as a letter she wrote to the priest about how she had a vision of the Virgin Mary, and the Virgin Mary said, you can either come with me now, your spirit can come with me now, and you can be free of your body, or you can stay and suffer these things, but then ultimately bring understanding, and people to will gain understanding of these demons, and it'll shed light on what has been going on, with this girl, and so her story will then be told, as opposed to going then and I guess the easy way out,
Okay. So do you agree with the premise that they were trying to get across on the, what we would call the defensive side of the movie, that Emily was actually chosen by God to, undergo this in order to show that there was still evil in the world? I mean, that's what the movie is trying to get across, at least at that point.
Are you asking me, do I agree that she was chosen
by God? Well, I'm just asking if you
or
agree with the storyline in that part.
Yeah, I mean, from her, it's all about point of view, really, and from her point of view, that she was doing something to help mankind, and ultimately help herself, whereas the other side, the prosecution, they wanted to say that she couldn't help herself, but Did you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And you watch the movie, and it really is a battle between science and the supernatural. They did try to treat her epilepsy, and I thought it was interesting during the trial where they actually said that she was on the medication during the exorcism and during the times that things were really bad, and they had an expert testify that she should have been getting better at that point.
But she wasn't. She was getting worse. And I also find it interesting that they say that the medication is what caused the exorcism to fail, because it was shutting off her brain to the experience that the exorcism would, the shock to her system, that would cause her to get past what was going on, to release the dual personality or the demons, what I mean? And it was preventing that from happening because it made, basically, they said it intoxicated her brain all the time.
Yeah, that was interesting. I've never heard that before, but it was an interesting spin on the exorcism motif. Overall, what did you think of the movie?
I liked it, Jen. Yes, no. I'll just go in and say that I gave it 4.5 squirts.
And that's kind of a half one there.
Thanks, Dave, as always. It's entertaining, more from the interesting aspect, of this. If you're interested in paranormal and anything paranormal, you should enjoy this movie just from everything going on, what they talk about, what they are trying to shed light on, the science and the paranormal. So,
okay,
it is very entertaining and interesting. So check it out, rent it, buy it, go see it.
Okay, yeah, I think it's good for people who are interested in the paranormal to go check this movie out, because, I mean, really, if you go into a case not understanding some possible medical aspects, or maybe the time you just decide to punt the case and say, you need to go see a medical doctor, this would be one of those things that makes you think twice about that, because, the courts and the society is looking at things from a scientific point of view and what's proven in medicine, and I mean, you really need to explore all those possibilities before you start looking at a paranormal explanation.
One thing watching the movie, I kept thinking in my head, if it wasn't a possession, if it was just a girl saying that she was being visited by ghosts, the same thing would have happened. They would have gone about it the same way, the prosecution and the defense. And so that it definitely parallels what we do, and what we can do and what we need to think about when doing our investigations.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to come across being any type of psychiatrist or psychologist, but if you're truly going to investigate the paranormal, I think it's important that you understand what could possibly be out there, and when you need to say, we're definitely not qualified to handle this type of thing, you need to go get some medical help. So it's one of the things that watching the movie, I just kind of thought, it kind of brings across the point that you definitely need to know when to defer the case to the experts.
That is true.
Yeah, and, there's been, at least within the last couple of years, at least 4 cases, one of them in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where there was a exorcism performed where the individual who was supposedly possessed died. And they find out later that the person either had epilepsy or some other medical condition that would have been better treated through conventional medicine. Not to say that exorcisms aren't real and possession is a real thing, but I think the church even realizes at this point that you need to rule out all possible natural explanations before you're going to proceed with anything like that.
Yep.
So, well, Troy, we thank you for your review, and I think it's been a good discussion. Yep. Jen, you got anything else you want to add there?
Not at all. That was excellent.
All right, sounds good. Well, we will catch Mustard Troy and his famous squirting ratings next time on Ghost Cab. So thanks again, Troy.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, we're at the Manteno State Mental Hospital, getting ready to do some EVP. It's 10:30 p.m. in the evening, and why don't we just go ahead and get started? Is there anybody here? Who is that? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, this is cool. Who is that?
Hello?
You know, we're standing in Jeannie's room. Is that you?
I'm Jeannie.
Oh, Jeannie. How you doing? Hey, Jeannie, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
I was wondering, what brought you to Mantino?
These guys came and brought a white coat. And then I woke up here.
Okay. Do you know, when you're here, you have to stay clean. Do you like hot or cold baths?
No cold baths. No cold baths.
You don't like the cold bath,
No.
huh? No. Hey, I was, just to let you know, I mean, I think you're crazy. I mean, I can clearly see you're nuts. Thank you very much. Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
What do you think of the remodeling project here at Mantino?
It's not good.
Really?
No.
You don't like it?
No, they're tearing it down.
Oh, that's a real shame, because I really like your room. What do you think of this room in your honor?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's my name.
Yeah, it's really nice. Hey, I was wondering, I've heard you've had some very electrifying experiences here. Could you elaborate on that?
Oh, yeah. They stick this thing in my mouth.
And then, what do?
They scare me.
They scare you.
Yeah, they hurt me.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Do they turn up the juice?
Yeah.
It's not good.
No.
No, not good at all. Hey, can I ask you, are you a few cards short of a full deck?
I don't play cards.
No. I don't think you know what I mean. I'm trying to ask you, did they ever perform a lobotomy on you? Jeannie?
Huh?
Pay attention, come on.
What?
Get with it. Shh. Listen to me. Shh. Okay. You got it?
Yeah.
All right. You know, surely your time here has been worthwhile.
Don't call me Shirley. My name's Jeannie.
Never mind. Okay, fine. Your name's Jeannie. So hello?
Yeah?
Stay with it, okay? Come on. No wonder they zapped your ass. Pay attention. Jeez, I'd take out your whole damn brain. You're annoying. So, is there anything else you want to tell us? Hello?
Hello?
Jeannie? Are you there? Hello?
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 Jeannie,
What?
is there anything else you want to tell us? I guess not. I think they may have taken a little bit more of your brain than you think. Anyway, what are you off to do now, Jeannie?
It's bath time.
Oh, well, you enjoy, and thanks for the interview, I think. Okay, yeah. Okay, very nice. Okay, bye, Jeannie. Okay, Jen, welcome back. What did you think of my interview session with Jeannie?
Well, Dave, I gotta say, I'm pretty sure you took the short bus to Tardsville on that one.
Yeah, I'd have to say she was a little difficult to interview. She isn't
a wee bit.
She isn't all quite there. And I'm pretty sure we all know why she is or was at Mantino and still is, because that's one crazy bitch. So let's review some of the new magazines, books, and websites that we've come across that we think are worthwhile for you to check out. The first one is going to be a website, and this is the South Jersey Ghost Research Group, and you can find them at www.southjerseyghostresearch.org. Got a lot of good information on there, and it's also the same person that is in charge of that group that runs that Shadowlands website.
Right.
They do a really nice job with their case files, summarizing everything, so they got some good stuff, so go check that out.
Okay.
The next thing we're going to move on to here is magazines, and there's a couple out there. Mysteries Magazine, basically the way it sounds, www.mysteriesmagazine.com. You can look at some of the stuff online, but also order a subscription to the print version as well. And actually,
Great.
you introduced me to that one. It's a pretty good one.
That is. I've been watching that one or reading that one for years now.
Okay, cool. The next one is relatively new in print form. It's the Haunted Times. Most of us are familiar with the www.hauntedtimes.com, the website, but they do have a print version of that magazine available as well. So we'll see what that one turns out to be like.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, check it out. Now, very interesting, we have 2 new books by Lloyd Auerbach, one of my favorite authors. And actually, one of his first books is what actually really got me solidified in this field and really interested.
Right.
And his new ones are Hauntings and Poltergeists, A Ghost Hunter's Guide. And the next one would be a paranormal casebook, Ghost Hunting in the New Millennium, and that would be his newest one that's supposed to be out at the end of September.
Great. Yeah, he's a great author.
He does a
and
good
speaker.
Yeah, he's really good. He can take the subject material, make it interesting and very easy to read and very easy to understand, and he's just a great, easygoing guy.
Yeah, he is.
All right, so check those out, and we'll be back shortly. Thanks. All right, our next segment is going to be on our annual conference that's coming up, and it's going to be held in Janesville, Wisconsin, and I'm going to have Jen tell you all about it here. Go ahead.
Great. Well, every year, of course, we have our annual SWPRG Paranormal Conference, and this year it is located at the Ramada Inn in Janesville, Wisconsin. We have a lot of different speakers this year. Most of them are actually from our group. We're going to be talking to, Dave Schumacher.
Who's that?
You.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Okay.
going to be speaking on our case files.
Okay. Yep, I will be.
Going over that. Also, another one of our group members is Cindy Heinen. She's our EVP specialist, and she's going to be talking about all the EVPs that we got and going over EVP in general.
Okay, that'll be awesome. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Also, another one from our group is Rob from Rob's Rants.
Oh, is he going to be ranting at the
Oh,
conference, or is he just talking today?
He's going to be ranting.
All right.
Yes,
Rock
he's
on.
Whole
Yeah.
hour worth of Rob's Rants, if you can handle it.
He'll have to be a little bit censored, but that's going to be fun. He'll
will
give a
be.
great talk.
Yes, he is a good speaker. He's an excellent speaker, actually, so I think he'll do a great job on that. Well, besides that, we have Heidi Levy and Brian Borton. They're going to be bringing their new book, Famous Wisconsin Ghosts and Ghost Hunters, and featuring, actually, the Southern Wisconsin Paranormal Research Group. So,
yes.
in that book. Also, Jason Williams, he's a film student from Milwaukee, and he will be presenting his award-winning video documentary, Ghost Hunting, A Serious Business, and that was also featuring the SWPRG, so that should be kind of fun.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah. Also, on board, we just got Dave Finkbeiner. I'm so sorry if I'm misspelling or pronouncing his name.
You have to come to the conference just to get his name.
And Sam Moranto from MUFON, from Illinois MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network. So they're going to be coming and talking about UFOs and aliens and some of their big cases that they've come. And I know that I've talked to them earlier, and they have a lot of good footage that they're going to be showing us. So
that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have a couple new speakers coming up, too, that I'm working on.
Okay, we'll keep everybody updated, and that sounds like it's going to be a fantastic conference, and they can go ahead and register and get all the information if they go to the website, www.swprg.com.
Right. Yep.
So sign up, and we will hopefully see you there.
Great.
The following program will contain words such as shit, fuck, damn it, asshole, sperm burp, ass munch, and jag off. Yep, by those words right there, you gotta know by now it's another episode of Rob's Rants. I'm your host, Rob. This is my show where I get to rant about ghosts and the paranormal in general. Now, the best thing about this is I'm on the net, which means nobody can fucking bother me, and if they do, I really don't give a flying fuck. So I'm gonna jump right into my show and tell you how I think it all should be. Okay, boys and girls, sit back, because I know I am. I got my smokes, I got my beer, I'm pretty much ready to rant. Now, my team has asked me to rant about a place that's very near and dear to my heart. As any of you that know me have heard me speak about it. It's an old abandoned state mental hospital. Now, I'm not going to give you the name or the location, so, if you email me, ask me, oh, where is this place? Too fucking bad, I'm not telling you. You want to find it on your goddamn own. Don't piggyback other people. Now, with that being said, let's get started. Now, one of the biggest things you hear about this old institution is my personal fan favorite of the urban legends. This is number one, Family Feud puts it up there, bing, 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 it's the number one answer, is that patients were electrocuted there. And I mean electrocuted by the use of a chair that looked like an electric chair, and they fucking shocked them to death, and they died, and they buried them on an unmarked grave in the middle of a cornfield. Okay, number one, that's a bunch of bullshit. They never shocked anybody on purpose with the intent of killing them. Now, the only thing they ever did use down there for electricity, besides lights and shit like that, was for a treatment called ECT. I think it was ECT. EST. Oh, I'm sorry, EST. Sorry, electroshock treatment, which was known to be a cure in some cases for mentally ill patients. Did it work? Fuck, I don't know. I never got electroshock, so I couldn't tell you. Now, that's one of those urban legends. The other urban legend about this place is the body tunnel down there. That these steam tunnels that in some places only measure maybe, a foot and a half high by a foot and a half wide, that the doctors in Orleans, if they used to kill these patients in their sleep for whatever reason, is they would wheel them down this body tunnel out to the old garbage dump and incinerate the remains so the family would never know. Oh, God. What can we stamp that one? I think that one could be stamped as a bullshit. I mean, major bullshit. Now, did people die at old state institutions? Oh, yeah. They died of natural causes. They fucking killed themselves. They might have died by accidents. Shit like that. That does happen. That's the cycle of fucking life. But, urban legends. You gotta fucking love the goddamn things, because everybody says, wherever you have an urban legend, you got a shred of truth. Sometimes maybe, sometimes no. Now, the other good one about this place is that people report on seeing, all kinds of shapes, ectos, orbs, apparitions, ghost voices. Now, that stuff is probably true, maybe not to the extent some people say it is, but this place is haunted. I can vouch for right now. I know my team will vouch for right now. And if you don't believe me, you can ask Jen, our poobah, and she will verify it 100% without a shred of doubt. Now, that being said, I think that the biggest problem I see is that, nobody seems to give a fuck about the historical part of it. They just sit there and go, oh, we got these orb photos from the old Saint. No. Stop the fucking car, back it up over your head, and run it over a fucking couple times. Because if I get another orb photo from an old state mental hospital, I'm going to shoot somebody in the fucking eye with a goddamn BB gun. I know that sounds like it doesn't hurt, but it'd probably be painful as fuck. Reason why I say is most of these places are abandoned. Okay, they've been abandoned since 1984. All right, a lot of our listeners maybe out there weren't even born yet, and well, they're going down there now, and I got orbs. Yeah, they got a horseshit digital camera in the dark, poor resolution. There is dirt, dust, muck, mud, mold, crap, piss, shit, and dead animals all over the fucking floor. They kick it all up and they turn around and take a picture, and they got a ghost. Now, what they got is a dust fucking bubble or a dust bunny or Googie Oggy or Oogie Boogie, whatever the fuck you want to call it, but it's not a ghost. All right. Now, with that being said, oh, God, the other shit about people just drive me fucking crazy with this stuff because you know what? They just sit there and keep going, oh, did you know this about the hospital? No, that's not true. This ain't true. This is not true. If you look out there, find the goddamn history, kids. Get the fucking evidence that you can, any means that you can, but make sure it's legit. Don't show me shit. Don't give me urban legends. I don't want to hear a story of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend that was raped and murdered out by a patient with a hook that came out of one of the buildings. I heard that one actually fairly recently. A young lady had emailed me and said her friend was attacked by a mental patient from this hospital, approximately maybe about a month and a half ago. Now, there haven't been no patients there in, oh God, fuck, I suck at math, but it's like about 20-some odd years. But oh no, she was attacked by a patient with a hook. You know, he made it out of like a bedpan, turned it into a hook, and yeah, I know, story of the hook, but this is what the girl told me. Oh, wait, that's not even that good. I had a girl one time on the internet find me and say, oh, do you know about the Old State Hospital? I said, yeah, I do. She's like, oh, well, my name's so-and-so. Won't tell her name. I'll give her some kind of anonymity. I don't even remember what the fuck it was, personally. Sorry, whoever you are. And, well, first she had to tell me that she was into vampire sex. Okay, big question mark right there, because I have no idea what the fuck that means. I'm assuming bloodletting, biting, and shit like that. Well, wherever floats your boat, you know, get your red badge of courage, cool. Now, she had told me that she was out there about a year and a half ago, and that she was in the big hospital building. I asked her which one. She says, oh, it's this huge hospital building with, you know, hydrotherapy tubs and all these chairs in it and gurneys in it. Well, it sounds like pretty much every building down there because they all had them at one time. Now, her story goes into saying that she had run into a patient down there who was lost. And it was an old man, and he was trying to find his way home. Said the guy was like about 90-some years old. Okay, now, I'll stop the story right there for 1 second and fill you in this much. Did it one time when the hospital first closed, did some elderly patients wander back to the grounds, wondering, you know, why their buildings were closed? Yes, they did. That's actually true. Now, that pretty much stopped in about 1984. You know, what she told me the story is like about 2004. Most of the patients that were probably down there at one time are pretty much dead, especially considering there were a lot of elderly patients there in the closing. That's a true fact also. But this man then all of a sudden was looking for his wire cap. Wire cap? What the fuck is a wire cap? Oh, she describes it as something they use for electroshock therapy down there. They didn't use wire caps down there. They used the band treatment, just so we know. That's truth also, so bitch is wrong twice. And then she proceeded to tell me that he had told her the story about, and this is no exaggeration, about I believe they were gnomes. Now, in front of some of the buildings they had gardening, you know, nice little landscape job for the whack jobs. And they had, some of the places, they had these small little garden gnomes. There's actually pictures of them when the hospital was open. They had these little garden gnomes, which are supposed to be good luck and ward off spirits and shit like that. But she had said that this man took her out to where all the garden gnomes lived. And I guess they're real people. I don't know if you know this, but garden gnomes are real people too. And they sit out there and they dick around in the woods or some shit like that. I mean, oh, fuck. I've gotten off the subject of my Old State Hospital so bad, it ain't even funny, but it's my show. I can pretty much do whatever the fuck I want. Now, I'll get back on my hospital real quick. And the other interesting ones are about patients that used to be there and the things they used to do and the things they used to see and shit like this. And is that true? Well, I say you got to experience that for yourself personally. I've seen weird shit go on there more times than I can remember right now. So has a lot of my team. A lot of my team's experienced shit down there. Now, a lot of people are probably going, oh, come on, you got to tell us where it's at. No. But just in case you do figure it out, and, you know, you ain't got to be that smart to figure that one out, is it's pretty much all gone. It's been demolished. The buildings that are left standing are owned by businesses. They are alarmed, and trespassing is not allowed. With that being said, oh, and if I ever get another story in my email or I see on the internet about, you know, the body chute, they used to wheel the bodies under the place, or the tunnel that connects from this place to the city of Chicago, which is like, I don't know, a good 45 miles away. It's a big tunnel so they could transport patients in the winter. Yeah. Okay, tell me another fucking lie. But, excuse me. Other things about the place, you know, you got to figure it this way. At one time, it was a beautiful fucking joint to be at. I guess if I was crazy, I wouldn't mind being in one of these places. I mean, they got to play ping pong, they got fed, they got clothed. Yeah, they're with other people that think they're plants and sticking their fingers in their ass and wiping on their nose. But, you know, hey, that's mentally fucked up people. That's what they do. I guess. I don't know. I think that's about it for this rant for today. If you can think of anything else, Let me know. Think my stories are bullshit? Fuck you. I don't like that one at all. The following program will contain words such as shit, fuck, damn it, asshole, sperm burp, ass munch, jag off. Yep, by those words right there, you gotta know by now it's another episode of Rob's Rants. I'm your host, Rob. This is my show where I get to rant about ghosts and the paranormal in general. Now, the best thing about this is I'm on the net, which means nobody can fucking bother me, and if they do, I really don't give a flying fuck.
All right, that wraps up another episode of Ghost Gab. I had a really good time, Jen.
I had a fantastic time. Thank you.
Yeah, and we just want to make sure that we remind you one more time to visit the website at www.swprg.com, and that's where you can find information about the group, the reports, the cases that we've talked about, the EVPs that we talked about, as well as get information on the conference and get signed up for that. We'd really like to see you there. We're going to have a good time, some good speakers, and a lot of good displays that are going to be set up as well. Yep. Now, for the next Ghost Gab.
Right.
We have been already working on the Halloween special for Ghost Gab.
Awesome. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the history of Halloween. Mm-hmm. We're going to go over some very famous hauntings that I'm sure you're all familiar with if you have any interest at all in ghosts and hauntings. Mustard Choi is going to give us his top 10 list of scary movies. So he's going to go from 10 squirts to 1 squirt, and I'm sure he'll be exhausted by the end, but he's going to give it all to us. And then we have set up a very special interview with the Blair Witch.
Right. She rocks, literally.
Oh, she does rock and roll, and some people even say she's a good rapper. Mm-hmm. And do I mean knocking on the wall rapping or something else? You'll have to tune in and find out. We're also going to have an interview with somebody from the
Ghost Mag.
Ghost Mag. That'll be really good, and find out more about what they do and how they do it, and maybe some insights into some upcoming issues.
Yeah.
So that'll be really fun. Anything else you want to mention?
I think that's it.
All right, sounds good, and we'll talk to you next time, and everybody have a spooky night.
Check the